So how did three idiots with a wrench, a camping propane bottle, and a microwave cause an explosion so large it killed 2 people in a neighboring home and caused 30 homes in the neighborhood to be torn down? The true answer is they got, I guess, lucky. So let's go to the whiteboard to explain how these three managed to accidentally, on purpose, find the perfect mixture to blow their house 5-6 blocks away. So in any fire, you have to have the fire tetrahedron: fuel, oxygen, and ignition source, and a sustained chemical reaction. And that is no different for natural gas or gas explosions. So burning a gas is different than burning pretty much anything else. With a gas, in order for it to actually combust, you have to have a certain percentage of that gas as a volume in the air. Otherwise, nothing will happen. So it has to be between a certain range, the LEL and the UEL. So let's say you have a room that is, we're going to go 3 foot by 3 foot, or if you're metric, 1 meter by 1 meter, give or take. And if you want something to burn in this room, if you fill it with natural gas, it has to be between 5% and 15% volume by air. So if this room is at, say, 4% methane total in the room, and you stick a match in here, nothing is going to happen. It is too lean to burn. There is not enough fuel. There is too much oxygen. It will not burn. However, your UEL for natural gas is 5% on the line here, and your upper, so this is your LEL, your UEL, your upper explosive limit, is 15%. I'm sorry for my terrible handwriting. So anything below this, right over here, will not burn. Anything above 15% also will not burn. So if you put 17% methane in this room by volume and stick a match in there, nothing will happen. It is too rich to burn. There is not enough oxygen. However, if you stick 6% in here, now it will likely burn. And if it is a confined, well-confined box, it will cause likely a small explosion because it is closer to the LEL. The closer you are to one of the extremes, the less explosive your actual gas fireball is going to be because it's not burning efficiently, right? So you have much more oxygen than you do fuel, so it's not going to burn through the gas as quickly as if it were more here in the middle, around like 10 to 11%. If you have something like 14%, we're just going to color over my 6 there, you have something more like 14%, this is very close to too lean. So there's going to be a ton of leftover fuel after it burns through, and it's not going to explode as efficiently. So what did they do in the Richmond Hill house that caused their house to go boom and explode everywhere? Well, now that you have a crash course in how gas explosions work, they had the house, so they had their house, helpfully labeled house here. They had a fireplace. It was a gas fireplace. What they did was they went over here to a meter. If you live in a house or an apartment or something like that that has gas, you will have a gas meter right here. It's that weird thing that measures how much gas you are using. Just past that, towards the supply side of the gas line, so the gas that's coming into the house before it gets to the meter, is usually a round object called a regulator. Right? What that regulator does is it takes the pressure that's coming in from the supply from the city or whoever it is, from anywhere from like 40 psi to 100 psi, in that range somewhere, right? And it drops it down significantly to about 1/4 psi in your house. So as it comes in, it gets dropped down from 40 to 100 to somewhere around 1/4 as it gets past this regulator. See, 1/4 psi goes through your gas meter, measures how much gas you're using, and then it flows into your home and will come out your appliances. So what they did was they took this regulator that dropped the amount of gas flowing into the house off, put in a pipe so that it would just continue to flow, and then over here in their gas fireplace, they had a valve that should have been attached here. And they took that gas valve off, which prevented it from stopping gas from just freely flowing out into the house when the fireplace wasn't on. What that did was allow anywhere from 40 to 100 psi of gas to flow freely into the house in all directions. Now, because they had a natural gas system, natural gas is lighter than air and tends to pool at the top of the house, right? As it slowly banks down, they had set a timer on their microwave in their kitchen, which I didn't draw. They had set a timer on the microwave in their kitchen and stuck a liquid propane, probably camping propane bottle, inside the microwave and set it so that when the timer for the microwave ran out, it would kick the microwave on to start, cause a spark, because it's a metal container inside a microwave, cause that to explode, and then that explosion would then ignite the natural gas in the house and cause an explosion. Now, the reason it went everywhere is because they just so happened to time it so that about, let's see, the actual stoichiometric ratio of methane is about 9.4% volume in air. So they just happened to time it so that when that microwave went off, there was about 9.4% methane inside this house, which then caused it to go here, there, and everywhere. Now, was this a smart plot to get home insurance? No, it was not. You see, your meter on the outside of the house is still going to be there because it's a big metal thing. It's not just going to disintegrate in the aftermath of an explosion. And it should still be attached to the pipes. However, the regulator was gone. In addition, your valve for your gas line is also made of metal and should, in theory, still be attached. However, it was not. And if it wasn't attached, the thing that gets people caught on a regular basis is that when they try and potentially explode their house on purpose, and this video is really long, and I'm sorry, but if you've made it this far, good for you. You have your pipe, right? And on the end of your pipe are threads. This is a really bad drawing, but you get the picture, right? You're on the end of your drawing. Here, I'll make it bigger. On the end of your pipe are threads, right? And if you have a valve threaded onto this, your actual valve is going to be sitting down somewhere right here. So it's going to block off all of these threads up here. So if you have an explosion and this valve breaks off, it's going to break off at this thread right here because it's a thin part of the material, and it's also the weakest part where it's at. If you find a gas pipe in the aftermath of an explosion that has all of the threads showing, and it's a part of something that should have actually been running prior to the explosion, it is a giant waving red flag that says this was removed before the explosion, because things don't unscrew and come off in the middle of an explosion. Also, it's super suspicious that they had literally no personal belongings in this house whatsoever, and also kept leaving in the weekends before every time they tried to blow the house up. So it was really obvious.